is just a tool which is used to build websites, right? Now, the first question is why AEM, right? You could just build it with HTML, or you could build it with Java, .NET, any of these, right? First of all, why do I need a content management system, right? Now, anybody wants to define what a content management system is in your people who have worked on Documentum, IBM CMS? What is the fundamental of a content management system?
Um, for it is used for managing all the um, medias, all the files, all the content. That's it.
Exactly. So basically, when you have websites, right, where content changes frequently, for example, a large news website, or for example, a travel website, right, you need to keep adding new locations and stuff. So let's say every day I have constant changing data, right? So how do I manage that, right? So I need to allow a non-technical user, right? We call them as authors, to add, right, to manipulate the data, manage that entire data, right? I cannot expect my developers to keep changing the HTML source code for every content change. In case I do that, I need to iterate over various release cycles, right, which adds an additional overhead. So basically, there is a need to allow non-technical users to add, edit, and manage my website, right? So a typical example is like, let's say your entire foxnews.com, which is a large news website, is built on AEM, right? People prefer, so think of a large news website, not right. Adding content is one part. For your website to stay relevant, right, you need to have these most updated assets. When I say digital assets, right, it means your videos, images, Word documents, PDF documents, right? All these need to be relevant. So you need to have one centralized location where you can actually upload all the assets, right? Right, imagine a large news website, you have pictures coming in every minute, right? So you need to have one centralized location. So you need a centralized location for managing the digital assets. Non-technical users, we call them as authors. So they need to manage the entire content of your website. So for example, don't worry about these URLs, we'll get into this part. So let's say admin. A website is a collection of pages, right? So for example, this is a website. This has pages like English, and this has products, right? Now let's say I open up a page in my website. Now my page is built up of is made up of these small individual components, right? For example, let's see, this here is a logo component. This is a navigation component. Every website has a navigation. You have a text, you have an image here, right? And this is the two column component where left side is the first column and right side is the second column. And this one over here is a search component, right? So some of the keywords that I learned here is website is collection of pages. Page is made up of these reusable components. More interestingly, I'm allowing my content author, to manage this website. For example, I feel I'm unhappy with this text over here, right? No need of any release cycle. I could directly, this is a dialog. I am enabling my author to change the content here. Let's say welcome to. Now on the fly, I'm editing the content of my site. You see this? The page doesn't even reload. Rather, just this one section of the page is reloaded, right? So let's say I want to add another image component over here. And all I need to do is it's just a matter of drag and drop over here. Right? I add an image component, and to this image component, I could add any image that I want. Do you see this? So basically, now you might ask me a question. If the author is building everything, what is the job of a developer? Right? The job of a developer is to build these components, right? Like building an image, building a video, building a text, right? And to make this component editable, right? Now, in addition to this, right, you might also have upstream and downstream systems, right? For example, let's say you're working on a large e-commerce website, you might have Hybris, right, which is sending in the product data. So you might need to write, or for example, I might have a Siebel or I might have a Salesforce, which is publishing articles. So I might want to consume all that data. So I also need to code a Java layer where I make these API calls. So AEM developer, job of an AEM developer is to build these components, right? This layout where you edit what value needs to get in is called as a dialog. To build these reusable components, dialogues, then you also need to have something called as workflows, right? Now, what do I mean by a workflow? It's a set of steps that needs to execute every time, right? For example, I create this content, right? I do not want this content to go live on my site, right? I rather want to introduce a review mechanism, right? I create this content, it goes to my content manager for review, and only if my manager signs off this content, I want to take this live, right? So I need to introduce a set of steps. So this is called as a workflow, right? So an AEM developer creates workflows, right? Th- So basically, that's what is defined here, right? A CMS also allows you, right, to enables non-technical users to add edit content. It allows you to create configurable workflows, right? Now let's talk about a typical book, like a large book website. Now, usually when you want to add new users, right? Let's say I'm designing a Java or a .NET, and if I want to have only few users are allowed to access pages, right? So I need to have tables here. One will be user table, one will be user role mapping. Okay, in the user role, right, I would have a primary key here. This guy becomes the secondary key here, and that user, right, like let's say the module is timesheet module, right? So I'll have permissions like read, write 0 1. So every module I'll have to make a JDBC call, right? Look for that user. Basically I need to update these tables, look for this, and then render the view, right? This is a typical user role. But in a content management system, you need to have a built-in mechanism where you don't need to manually normalize these tables, create these data entries or anything, right? You must have a built-in user role and user permissioning mechanism. So that is available in AEM. Let's say I want to add a new user. That if I check any user, don't worry about these URLs here. We are going to learn this in detail. Adding a new user is as simple as just saying create user. And once this user is created, the user is shown here. And then all you need to do is enable or disable the permissions over here. Right? So this is a built-in mechanism. Now the question is, why AEM over other CMS tools, right? That's the first question. So let's understand some of the features. So last 6-7 years, Adobe has been leading in the content management space, right? Now, how do enterprises or enterprise architects evaluate CMS tools in the market and pick up AEM, right? The standard mechanism in most of the organizations is they follow Forrester's and Gartner's reports. These are standard reports, right? AEM has been named the leader, right? That's the first point. So you could, I'll send you these links. You could go ahead and look at those. So you have a parametric evaluation of all the CMS tools and individual rating based on these metrics, right? So in that space, last 5 years, Adobe has been leading. Okay, that is one part. Why AEM, right? What are some of the other tools in the market? You have, somebody said I worked on Sitecore, right? You have Sitecore, you have the team site, Magnolia, Documentum, Drupal, IBM CMS, right? Even though all of these are there are limitations with these, right? Now, why AEM? First thing is it allows you to build a multi-channel and a multi-language website, right? For example, if you look at, let's say, intel.com. Now, your website should have one-time authoring, right? The author goes and authors it one time, but my website should work for European region, like all the languages. It should work on Chinese, it should work on German, Japanese, right? With one-time authoring. I cannot go to every single language, author the content and stuff, right? So I need a mechanism where author once and it should work across all the languages seamlessly. So if you see, for example, right, the website look and feel everything remains the same. It is just that the content is translated and you can localize. When I say localize, change the image or whatever, right, specific to that particular locale over here, right? So AEM gives me something called as multi-site management, right, or MSM, right, where you author once and it works across all languages. Okay. Also, your multi-site manager, right, allows you to build multi-channel. When I say channel, right, now what are some of the devices, right? One is it has to work on a desktop, a tablet, a mobile. Now for all this, right, I just want one-time development and it should work across all the sites. So nowadays, right, legacy tools, right, we used to have a site like m.intel.com. Most of the websites had a prefix like m. Let's say citrix.com, m.cisco.com, and one is cisco.com. That was a legacy design. But now we mostly prefer responsive framework, right, where we use Bootstrap coupled with CSS3, right? So that part is gone. Anyway, AEM allows you to build multi-channel and multi-language websites. The way it works is you create one blueprint. For example, I would say USA English is the blueprint for my website. Now I add all the content like the images, text, video, and I make my site ready with blueprint. The moment I say rollout, right, all those available languages, let's say 40 languages you want your website, right? The moment you roll out, AEM doesn't do the translation, but what AEM does is it gives you a placeholder, right, where it creates all the sites. Then you would have to purchase a translation tool, right, that would actually translate, but it gives you the layout, content, and everything. The translation needs to happen by a translation tool, or you can manually go ahead and translate. It just gives me a placeholder or a message bundle for holding all the content, right? So that's called multi-site manager. Okay, that's the first advantage of AEM. The next advantage is it gives me a single place for managing all the digital assets of my website, right? So like I told you, what do I mean by digital assets? Digital assets are your images, videos, documents, right? All these sit in one single location for a website. For example, let's say I go to dam admin, right? All the banners, portraits, movies, right? So if I want to upload a new image, I just go to banners and I can upload. So right, imagine, right, this needs to be scalable. Like in case I have 10,000 images, all the 10,000 images associated to geometrics and all its references will be stored over here, right? Let's say I say new file. So this thing shows over here, right? You see this? Now you don't want this. Every image, would have a width and a height. Right? That's a rendition. Now you don't want the same rendition of the image on mobile. You don't want to show the same big image on a desktop or on a tablet, right? So look at this. AEM, the digital asset management, allows me to generate renditions over here, right? For example, I could use this 1280 cross 1280 on a desktop. On a mobile device, I could use a 48 width and a 48 height. On a tablet, I could use a little larger image, and I could also customize the rendition, I mean the width and height of the image that gets created, right? So this is becomes a built-in mechanism. So what I've written here is it allows organization to manage and manipulate digital assets in one single location. It also allows me to generate renditions, right? That's the second advantage. The third advantage over here is, like, let's say I go to boast.com. Again, all these sites that I'm showing you are large AEM sites. Right? Now this is a e-commerce site. Any e-commerce site, what are some of the features that you expect? You expect an ability to add to the cart, right? Then once you add to cart, right, again, there are two options. One is you could add to cart as an anonymous user, or you could sign in and add to cart. So if you sign in and add to cart, you would see personalized experience. When I say personalized, in case I add, let's say I'm shopping on Amazon, and in case I add fiction novels, the next time I log back in, I would see a voucher or offer on other fiction novels, right? So this way you're trying to personalize data. Then you would also need a payment gateway, right, where you would enter you would need a secure place where you add your credit card details, it validates, right? So you need a checkout mechanism, right? Add to cart, checkout, all these are features. And you also need to view the variants, right? Product pricing variants, right? So for example, let's say I want a 300 sound bar. There's find a store near you. Then before buying a product, you actually want to look at its reviews, ratings, right? You also want to look at what others are saying, right? You need to have a kind of a place where you can engage your users with the site, right? You need to have a forum community and stuff. So all these e-commerce abilities, right, are built-in components within AEM, right? For example, when you look at AEM, the moment you start your AEM server, you get a fictitious website which Adobe have built, right? The reason Adobe has built this is so that anybody who is who is getting started, right, newly, or who wants to implement AEM for their enterprises, right, you could explore all the available features over here, right? And also you could refer to the best implementation practices, the content modeling, right? All the design patterns which are used, the coding standards, all these. That's the reason it's built in over here. Now, if you go to Geometrix outdoor site, when I give you the server, right, these sites should show up on your instance as well. So don't worry about that. Now let's say I go to this page. You would have a backend source, like you could connect to Hybris, right? Because AEM is a Java based CMS, right? Any Java connector, right? So you could connect to any third party tool by using a Java based connector. So you could connect to Hybris. So the Hybris connector is built in, right? Elastic path also is available. Then if you want to connect to any other Oracle ATG also is available. So if you want to connect to any of these, there is built-in connector. If you have your own custom things like IBM, MainSphere, anything, right? You could just build a Java connector API and connect to it. That is for the third-party data that flows in. When I go here, let's say I want to buy this coat. See, add to cart. Reviews and ratings is also already built-in component, right? So you could just refer to the, so a developer, maybe you can leverage this, or you can go ahead and customize that code for the business requirement that you may have, right? Now this is the variants, right? Size, medium, large, Excel, quantity. So if I add 10, right, it needs to update my e-commerce system as well, right? If I buy 10 shirts, my inventory should not, my inventory, if it has 15, it has to be 15 minus 10, right? All that updation, right? Sending API calls, everything you need to handle. I mean, it is already available here. This logically I'm saying. The reviews, ratings components, right? You can create your review over here. Right? All these come as components. Then there is also a checkout. Right? Now also you could add a coupon. So adding vouchers, campaigns, coupons, all these come as built-in features. Right? So this checkout form also is customizable in case I want to call this form as anything else. Right? See this, everything is customizable over here. And there's also a payment gateway, by the way. So I've added 3 points here. See this. It gives me an ability to build e-commerce websites, right? Because it supports Java Connector API. I could connect to Elastic Path, Hybris, or Oracle ATG, or any of these backend e-commerce system to consume the product data. And when I consume product data, let's say I add to cart and check out a particular product, I also need to update my backend e-commerce system, right? So you could send post calls to that, right? That's all part of the Java Connector API. Components such as cart, payment gateway, product view, product detail, pricing, right, come in as built-in components. That it all comes in as part of a Java package which is available within AEM. That's Calm Day Commerce API package. Now, for example, let's say you want to buy a Sony PlayStation, right? Now, when I log into PlayStation.com, that's also an AEM, by the way. PlayStation.com in Canada might show you different content. Same PlayStation.com homepage somewhere in Australia might show you different content. So this is called personalization, right? The same URL rendering different content based on geographical location, based on your previous buying history, based on your browsing history or browser type, right? For example, the same PlayStation on iPhone might render different content, right? So this mechanism is called personalization. So AEM gives me a framework to personalize the web pages, right? So what is the ultimate goal of personalization? It allows you to maximize the lead conversion, right? By showing relevant content to relevant users. So ultimately, it's all lead to cache, right? The moment you show relevant content, there is a higher chance of increasing the brand loyalty, right? And you can then user retention, right? These are all some of the goals of digital marketing. Right? AEM also offers social marketing tools such as blogs, communities, right? Calendars where I can create my events, forums, ratings. So all these are mechanisms to engage with my visitors of the website, right? And across social media channels, right? For example, it also integrates with, for if you see, you could go to Facebook. Right? Now on Facebook, depending on, let's say on Facebook, my hobby is running, right? Now I want to display headphones, wireless headphones, right? Based on the liking of my Facebook, right? You want to display some things, right? You can sign in via Facebook. The moment you sign in via Facebook, right, your profile data will be pulled here, and depending on your hobbies in your Facebook profile data, I can target you with some personalized experiences, right? So all those things are available over here. So that's why I have written across several social media channels, right? Personalization, engaging the visitors of your website, right? ability to build e-commerce websites. And also think of this, right? Let's say you're working on BBC News, right? You would have a team, right, who would actually capture the news real time for you, and they're at a site, at, for example, a disaster location. Now, when they're clicking those pictures real time, you want to enable them to add the page, the images on your web page instantly, right? So you need to give them a powerful authoring framework, right? Where you don't want them to scroll, right? A non-responsive authoring framework will make life difficult for, because they have to scroll to the right on their mobile device, upload the image and all that, right? So you need an authoring framework which actually adjusts to the device that they're using. So AEM gives you a powerful authoring framework, right? Example, a guy in London, right, where an earthquake has happened, right, would access this page. Now, let's say he's using a mobile device, right, and I try to resize this. See this? It adjusts. At some breakpoint, right, it becomes, you see this? The concept of having a horizontal scroll bar is legacy, right? And if I further scroll it, you would see a one column grid. See this? This is the kind of experience you want to give the authors for editing. And of course, even the visitors need to have this kind of AEM, not only for the visitors, even for authoring, it provides you a powerful responsive framework, right? Compared to other CMS, right, it gives you more intuitive editing capabilities. For example, right, these widgets here, right, these are all called widgets, right? All these are intuitive and powerful widgets, right? No other CMS tool gives you this. Right? That's why AEM is the most preferred CMS. Now, how do I find out, right, which are some of the large brands, right? You see, these are all Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies, which most of the companies are navigating to AEM now for their website experience. Right? These are large names here: Nike, GM, Audi, NBC. Right? Now, how do I find out list of AEM websites? Go to builtwith.com. And here, let's say I give cisco.com for example. It gives me, it does a technology lookup of that entire website, right? For the analytics, what is used, what are the front end frameworks which is used, what is the CMS that is used, right? How do I build up my widgets, what are the languages that are supported, right? Now here you would see that there is a content management system, right, which is CQ. For curiosity's sake, you would go and say download list of all the sites. Look at this, is a huge number. No other CMS tool has this huge number, and some of the largest names you could go and download this lead list, right? So to download the lead list, it'll ask you for a sign up, right? So these are some of the large brands: Kmart, Delta Airlines, at AARP, LNTV, so many such sites. So there is a huge work and a huge market for the next 10 years. That is the visibility that I see, right? So prerequisites, right? To learn AEM, what is it that I need to know? Right? We just need elementary knowledge, right? Not even advanced knowledge. We are not trying to build a product. We are leveraging the product to build something, right? So you need to know basics of JSP servlets, core Java like JVM, collections, interfaces, right? These are all some of the elementary topics in core Java. Basics of HTML, JavaScript, CSS, JSP, implicit objects in JSP. If possible, HTML, jQuery, and Angular. Right? I'm not saying it's a must, but good to know. There is a difference between must know and good to know. Okay. So these are some of the things. Now, how long is the training? I would say that we would need about 20 sessions, right? Close to 20 to 23 hours of training. Every day we plan to have about 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes, Monday to Friday EST time zone. At the end of this session, I'm going to share like the class notes as well as, so we add all the important keywords like this. So for example, if you see one of my existing batch, let me share that with you. This is an existing batch. So we add all the keywords, important links. Right? Also, I'm going to share a PDF of the step by step and the video in case you are missing out on any session. Right? You would also get the recording. Apart from that, yeah, all this is real time. I would also share the code. If you're getting stuck, I also give assignments. So it's going to be a total website building experience, right from day one onwards. Okay, now whatever I had to cover for the demo, I've covered. So now if you have any questions for me or anything, you can let me know.
Rajesh, I have a question. You were telling that it provides a payment gateway also. So using AEM, what type of payment gateway is it integrated
You
with?
can
Can
build
we do
any
earlier?
payment. There is a built-in payment gateway, but you could use anything that supports any Java code, the normal Java application, like whatever you could use. That same thing will be used here. Right?
Yeah, but does it, so just by using this, can we do an end-to-end transaction? Like how
Yeah,
we do a shopping cart and do a credit card, all the payments?
yes, yes. That's what is done in most of the sites that I showed you, like Boast.com, Tyco.com. All these are large e-commerce sites which leverage AEM for the entire transaction mechanism.
Yeah. So are we going to cover that part, payment gateway also, and in this
Oh
session?
no, payment gateway is not covered here. Right? But after learning this, you will know where to see the code, what to see the built-in stuff. You will know. But that's not covered in this training. See, entire thing will be in the OSGI layer. Right now, the moment you learn how to code in OSGI, how to code a service, anything that is existing, right? There are so many features that are built in, right? Or any feature you will know where to look for the source code, and it could actually, it's more of a copy paste business once you understand the framework.
And secondly, I have installed EM 6.3, I guess, but I'm not getting geometric project under that.
Oh yeah,
Is it like
geometrics, see, for
after?
learning purpose, what I suggest is 6.3 has something called V-Retail, right? So for
Mhm.
learning purpose, geometrics is the best thing for learning because it gives you four sides, right? One is geometrics demo, one is e-commerce, one is the responsive one. So once you learn, you could actually switch to 6.3.
Okay.
It is just that few features have been added, but the core still remains the same.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Subbu here.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, Rajesh, here because the data need to be stored in some database, correct? So you are using any SQL or non-SQL database also it will support.
Oh, this
No,
AEM,
no
we
SQL.
have to unlearn SQL because we have our own repository. We call it as
Mm-hmm.
Java Content Repository.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a hierarchical model for data. But
Mm-hmm.
there is no concept of tables or rows or anything over here. It has its own storage mechanism.
Mm-hmm. And how your AEM will connect to other AWS S3 to get the content and show it in a AEM, or you are using only digital assets only? Damn.
Yes, there are two models. One is you could use your own AWS or Microsoft Suite, Azure or any storage
Yeah.
model for keeping the
Mm-hmm.
assets. Or It could be an in-house where you manage your own server as well.
So it will support both, like
It will
cloud.
support
Or one
cloud.
more thing is the total AEM can build on the Adobe Cloud, or we need to have the
I
separate.
think you already know that piece, right? Yeah, if you subscribe, again, that comes with a cost. You feel that, no, I don't want an in-house administration team. I want 100% availability and all that. You could, I mean, that comes with a cost, but you could have Adobe managed services to host the entire site and to manage your server side configurations, deployment cycles, everything they will manage. Obviously, I cannot show you that unless you want to pay like $100,000 to demonstrate. That's $100,000.
Okay. So we can install that whatever the jar you are giving, you can install it any system and with a licensed version. Correct?
What we are giving is the training license. You cannot take any site to production with that one. For our standalone creation of sites, exploring the features, local development, that's enough.
Okay.
You just need JDK to get started. That's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. If there are no other questions, thanks everyone. Thanks for your time. Okay. Let's see how things go. You can talk to Srini for further details. Okay. Thanks for your time. Bye.
Can we reply on the mail itself or to Srini?
Yeah, I think Srini will coordinate you with all the further details. So once we
Yes,
get
we
all
will
the
contact you.
enrollments, once we get all the enrollments, I think we'll be starting a batch. So yeah, Srini will be contacting you, I suppose. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye.